I would love for you just to give for those of you that haven't seen the CMO practice, Michael just published a report specifically on sort of GRPs and the needs of advertisers and its value in the industry. Top line for us.
Yes, top line is that GRPs are still going to be super duper important. I think the whole points that Joan made about the need of cross-channel comparability, balancing that with what's possible already in digital is really hard. And I come from a digital background, so it's been a hard truth to swallow as my time at Forrester that despite all the stated advantages of using digital data, TV is a much bigger business, and there's a lot of inertia in that. So just for the sake of where GRPs are headed, they're going to be a staple, and that anybody who wants to play in cross-platform media planning is going to have to use GRPs. That being said, that's really just the tip of the iceberg now, because I think everyone in this room, would agree that consumer behavior is really moving too fast, and that a GRP, to Joan's point, is really inadequate, and it's really just something. It's a proxy, and it's never been. There's never been a need for to measure more behavior beyond just tune-in. So I think it's going to rely on the agencies themselves and the sellers of media and maybe the marketers to demand it more, but different lenses to look at, a media across platforms, so that you're going to need GRPs to plan everything and quantify everything and compare everything. But, depending on who you are, you're going to care about cross-platform reach. You're going to care about maybe, engagement on second screen or third screens. You're going to care about offline metrics, to your point before, right? CMOs care so much about ROI and purchase intent. You might have to wrap those things into how you plan and measure.
So when we talk about, I just want to when I talked about the decoupling of from digital, even though we would be sort of normalizing around a GRP as an object, right, for decision making. In the paper you wrote, and I'm paraphrasing it, so please correct me, but you sort of talked about the fact that we're using the GRP, but there's still sort of a separate multi-platform decision process that is unique to a platform or a channel around decision making for buying and planning, right?
Yep.
Okay, so the reason that's important to me is because when it comes to how you value the media, right? That's where I think it gets interesting, because if you're using a gross rating points, is a gross rating point on digital going to be the same as television if they're still church and state? Even though we're using the same proxy, which is an audience and a rating point, we're still not really bringing them, bundling them, so that's not necessarily going to pull the value digital inventory up.
I preface this by saying it didn't make the most sense from a consumer what's possible standpoint, but from a business standpoint, it is just going to have to be, I'm not saying it's going to be accurate, but that's what has to happen.
But I'm digging. So Mike and I have these conversations usually over breakfast in the city, but I'm digging because the primary reason that digital publishers are getting their heads and hearts around GRP, that are going doubling down on online video, is because they're trying to tap into TV dollars and drive share, right? But at the end of the day, an audience member to an audience member is still valued less. It's kind of futile. Maybe it's...
Well, I don't want to knock TV so much. I think you're going to see some, changes, and you're going to see TV get more digital as well. So it's not going to be just complete silos. I think you're seeing specific TV data sets are starting to emerge too that can make TV smarter, just if you operate within the current TV buying ecosystem. Things like set-top box data or social engagement data. So...
But to go back to Joan's point of equivalency, and that's the first time I've heard that phrase, so thank you for equivalency of, yes, so thank you for sort of teaching that today. But if we talk about equivalency, is that something in the lexicon of CMOs and brands that you're talking to? So that, they're asking for something they compare apples to apples, but are they taking it a step further and ensuring that the value of that rate of an audience member or a rating point in digital is equivalent to the value as far as what it delivers for their brand, medium to medium?
No, I don't think so. Thankfully, I don't work at one of these big measurement companies and have to worry about this, because Joan makes an excellent point. It's a real problem. But a CMO doesn't care about that. A CMO is going to have to focus on just measuring across channels, and then the really deeper stuff that they're going to care about for their business is going to have to come from other data sets.
So we talk a little more about, in the report, you talk about sort of the next 12 to 24 months, how TV buying will change and all, as it relates to digital, and you kind of parse it out into segments. Will you talk us through that?
Sure.
It was a great chart.
You mean
the data on the front end and where GRPs are sort of sitting in the middle today and tomorrow. It was great.
Today, the sort of planning, buying, and measurement phases of traditional linear TV is just GRP, GRP, GRP. If any TV buyers in the room, I'd love to talk to you afterwards, but that's pretty much how I know it to operate. And in the future, I think we're going to see planning and measurement, so the jobs of most of the media agencies is going to be a lot more complex, and that they're going to have to look at things like set-top box data, like first-party marketer data. Like, marketers want to use their own CRM databases to make a smarter segmentation and buy against that. You're going to use things like social engagement, like cross-platform numbers. That's all going to move into these, really large planning platforms where allow you to cherry-pick audiences, make a media plan that is dumber, I guess, or just operates just on GRPs. And then when you measure that, you're going to look at GRPs to validate what happened, but then you're going to have to look at all this other stuff again to see what actually was the effects from that.
Could we talk about addressable and sort of the GRP? And if we're, there feels like there's just this constant of things that are divergent, yet we're all talking about convergence, right? So GRP is about apples to apples and really being able to look at media in a unified way that is channel agnostic. Mm-hmm. Yet when we talk about addressability,
it's the opposite.
Yeah. And so you're talking about deconstructing an audience for the sake of making it more valuable. But then in digital, we're sort of talking about being able to normalize audience.
Yeah, addressable is...
Solve that problem for me, Michael.
Sure, right. Addressable is really tough. There's so, it definitely, I would think of it conceptually more in a bucket with online video just because of the targeting and the granularity you can do with it. But once again, it's, I don't think we're going to see addressable beyond the operators and their local inventory really for a long time. There's not really a vested interest from, DirecTV, Dish. I read a lot of press releases, but I have to be cynical. I can't afford not to be. So I'll believe it when I see it with their national level addressable stuff. But there isn't, you're not going to see, your primetime spots go addressable.
But we talk about this a lot. The largest operator in the U.S. is still Xbox. Yep, they have a bigger, they're 25 plus in the U.S. I think Comcast is 23.
Okay, but do they have I don't think they have the technology. I think I was actually speaking to someone at Starcom last night about this. They don't have the technology to dynamically serve ads in stream. They're just basically patching the content through. So I
don't know about dynamic insertion, but they can target on an individual level, which is addressable. Advanced is dynamic, right? Addressable is targeted, right? So I think that's going to be a big disruption as well.
Oh, yeah. Microsoft is one of my big companies to keep an eye on. I think they have a lot going for them. But, once again, they don't have the scale. And oftentimes, when I get excited about something in TV terms, it matters very little because, unless you have that massive scale, no one really cares about it.
Yeah.